If you're wondering how much it costs to live in Spokane, then this is the video for you. My name is Phil Wells. I'm a real estate agent serving clients in and around Spokane. I also have a network of top agents in North Idaho that can help you there too. In this video, I'm going to look at all the costs associated with living in Spokane, including housing costs, both renting and buying, utilities, the cost of getting around the city, groceries, taxes, insurance costs, as well as some of the unique costs of living in Spokane and living in Washington too. I'm then going to compare Spokane to other cities in West Coast states so you can get a better idea of the relative cost of living here. Let's get on with the video. Looking first at the cost of real estate. The median home price in Spokane as of July 2020 was $301,509 according to the Spokane Association of Realtors. The national median home price was $304,100 according to the National Association of Realtors in July 2020. Median home prices in Spokane are rising slightly faster than they are nationally at 11.7% compared to 8.5%. Comparing this to some surrounding cities, looking first at Seattle, we can see they have a median listing price of around $740,000. In Portland, it's around $490,000. LA has a median listing price of around $940,000, and San Francisco is way out in front with a median list price of $1.5 million. It's plain to see then that your money goes a lot farther in Spokane when it comes to buying real estate. And it's no surprise, therefore, that I'm talking to tons of people from places like the Bay Area who are earning good money but are priced out of their current market. And they're looking at moving to Spokane where the real estate market makes a lot more sense. Overall, it's a very affordable place to live from the perspective of housing. And with housing costs making up the majority of people's monthly living expenses, you can see why people are moving here. I am going to be touching on property taxes later in the video, so stick around if you want to hear about that. Okay, so you've got your place to live, now you're going to need utilities. For those utilities, you're looking around $140 a month for something like an apartment or a condo. Obviously, it's going to be more if you have a larger home. These utility costs will obviously vary month to month, with winter being the month you use the most energy for heating your home. The cheapest way to do this in Spokane is with natural gas, which is around a third the cost of electricity, so just bear that one in mind. Water usage is going to be higher in summer if you want to maintain a nice looking yard. It does get very dry here in the summers, so a sprinkler system is essential if you don't want to look at brown grass and dried out plants. As with most cities, there's a range of options for high-speed internet here, around the $60 mark. I personally pay around $30 though for my internet, and it works just fine for me to be able to work from home. In terms of the cost of getting around the city, gas is currently $2.50 as of recording this video. There's also a pretty good network of public transport buses in Spokane. The cost for this is $60 for a month, with $30 tickets available for those that qualify. Looking now at the cost of food. I considered not including the cost of food in this video because it's so dependent on what you eat and how much you eat. However, I then compared the cost of food in Spokane to the cost of food in San Francisco and saw that it was worthwhile. As you can see, most food items are 10 to 20% more expensive in San Francisco than they are in Spokane. There's a good range of grocery stores too in Spokane. There's Rosa's, Fred Meyer, Huckleberry's, Trader Joe's, and a few independent stores, with the trend of those independent stores being kind of bulk stores and health food stores. There are hundreds of great places to eat out in Spokane, and the average meal for two will cost you around the $60 mark. Looking now at taxes. There is no income tax in the state of Washington, which is a huge plus for Spokane. However, we do have a relatively high sales tax of 8.9%. Having said that though, groceries are exempt from sales tax in Washington. Property taxes are around the 1% mark, with some areas of the city having higher property taxes. There's also no corporate tax here in Washington, so if you're planning on starting a business here or you're relocating your corporation, then this could be a huge plus for you. Now let's take a look at some of the unique costs of living in Washington and some of the unique costs of living in Spokane. If beer isn't your thing and you prefer liquor, or as the state of Washington defines it, anything over 24% alcohol by volume, then you'll be paying a 20.5% tax on these items. Fortunately, in Spokane, we're close to Idaho, where you'll pay a much more reasonable 6% for these items. You'll also have to factor in the cost of switching out your tyres twice a year and the initial purchase of snow tyres. Now, you can get away with all-season tyres if you choose. However, if you live slightly more remote, it is recommended to get snow tyres. If you do decide to go with snow tyres, my top tip is not to buy studded snow tyres. There's a chance these may be illegal in the next few years. Looking now at insurance rates. The cost of healthcare in Spokane is significantly below the national average. I think this is probably because the healthcare industry in Spokane is so large, and with more competition comes lower prices. So if you're self-employed like I am, or your employer doesn't offer healthcare benefits, there's a good chance you can get a reasonable rate for health insurance in Spokane. In terms of car insurance, and I can't back this up with actual data, but I found that my car insurance rates dropped when I moved to Spokane. I think this has something to do with the fact that Spokane doesn't have any severe weather patterns. Where I was before, we were prone to getting hailstorms, and obviously this is going to jack your insurance rates up. Now I want to compare the overall cost of living in Spokane to the overall cost of living in other cities in West Coast states. Just a quick note on these figures. I got these figures from bestplaces.net, and I noticed straight away that the median home prices are out of date. So try take this as demonstrating the relative positions of these cities, not as being an exact science. Looking first at Seattle, we can see it's 86.7% more expensive to live in Seattle, with the bulk of that extra cost coming from housing, which is over 220% more expensive. Looking now at San Francisco, we can see overall it's about 190% more expensive to live in San Francisco than it is to live in Spokane. The bulk of those costs come from housing, which is over 500% more expensive than here in Spokane. Looking now at Portland. Portland was the closest competitor, but it was still 40% more expensive overall than living in Spokane, with housing costs being 90% more expensive in Portland than they are in Spokane. Looking now at LA, it's over 85% more expensive to live in LA than it is in Spokane, with housing costs being over 200% more expensive. That'll do it for this video. I hope you gained a little bit of insight into the cost of living in Spokane. As you can see, overall, it's pretty cheap to live here. Like I said, my name is Phil Wells. I'm a real estate agent here in Spokane. If you have any further questions, please reach out to me and I'll be happy to help. Until the next video, thanks for watching.